Hi, and welcome back to Once Upon a Page. Today we are going to talk about book reviews. And I'd like to start by asking, have you ever received a review from your book that meant a lot to you to read it?
Tell you, the first time that I got a review that said that I made them cry. I know that sounds horrible, but it means that they were emotionally involved enough, that they could feel what my characters were going through to the point that it brought them to tears when my characters cried. And that almost made me cry for them to tell me that, because, you write this story, you think it's okay, you think it's pretty good, and then somebody tells you something like that, or that they stayed up all night long because they could not stop reading it. And I'm just like, wow. I sort of feel powerful, like, woo! Because I love books like that. I love to read books that do that to me. And so to be able to write a book that will do that for somebody else is just amazing to me.
For me, I really, the reviews that say that they couldn't put it down, like that means a lot to me, because, I don't know, I like that they enjoyed it so much they had to find out what was going to happen. And I look for, and like you said, I look for books like that myself. If I get pulled out of the story, I don't like that. I like for it to be like, oh man, I don't want to quit reading. So I think those touched me the most, probably.
Like you, I've had those that you would think, oh, this is a negative, like, I am so mad at you right now. I won't tell you why, because major plot point. But I actually have had multiple people tell me, I am so mad at you right now. And it's like, well, then I've done my job well, haven't I?
I've had some beta readers do that to me.
Because they're relating and they're engaging with the characters, and that's what that means. Or the ones that tell you this. I had one person tell me that she cried through reading it because she saw herself so much, and to know that means that person connected with the message on a personal way, and that meant so much. And as an author, I understand that means a lot, and so that brings me to, do you leave reviews?
I do.
And where do you leave them?
I do on Goodreads, for sure. Even if I don't write something, I at least star it. I guess that's still a review, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of bad about leaving them on Amazon. I need to be better. But I try to leave them on both places, but I definitely do Goodreads more. So
I definitely leave reviews on Goodreads, at least a star. A lot of times I will go write a few words about it. Partly because I use Goodreads to keep track of how many books I read each year, and if I've read a book or not, or if I've read an author before. So it's just right there. It's very easy to do. But like Erin said, I need to get better about leaving them on Amazon, because I know how important it is to authors to have more reviews, and I need to go take the ones off Goodreads and put them on Amazon too.
I review mine on my blog. I try and review just about every book that I read gets blogged about. And I generally do Amazon reviews and Goodreads reviews, but it's like I sit down one day and go, okay, I read that one already, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, so let me review all of these. So it may be a while. It may be 6 months later, but eventually I will have that review up there and everything. You were talking about how much it means to authors. Let's talk about that for a minute, because readers may not know what an Amazon review or a Goodreads review, but especially an Amazon review, means to authors who are just starting out, even and those who've been around forever, but especially with the number of indie published authors, with small publishing houses, things like that. What do these reviews mean to the authors?
If you're like me and you've never heard of an author before, or you don't know from the description of the book if it sounds like something you would like or not, I will scroll down and read through some of the reviews to see what people are saying, and if it's all very like, oh, this was such a good book, oh, this, you know, but if they go through and say, well, this is what I liked and this is what I didn't like, that's very helpful to me, because then I can decide if I'm going to spend the 99 cents, you know, because I know it's not a lot to spend 99 cents on a book, but if you spend 99 cents on it and then it's just awful,
Right.
you've wasted your money. Sorry, it's just, and I am very much a penny pincher, so I don't want to spend money that I don't have to, you know, especially when there's all these other books that I know are going to be good, you know, over here that I'd rather spend my money on. So,
Well, and for authors to have those reviews on their end of it, if you have read an author and you like them and you want to see more of what they do, the way they get seen, the way they get, for lack of a better word, credibility in the industry is through those reviews. When you go to put in whatever book it is, Faith's Journey, into the search thing, and you bring it up, it shows you books that you might like. It recommends books. It doesn't recommend books that have one review.
Right.
It takes a while to build it up. So if you like something that an author's written, to put a review on there, an honest review, that helps those new and growing authors, those people that are indie published and with small publishers. It helps them get seen in an arena where there are big publishers out there who have more money for the marketing and things like that.
Right.
It helps establish them as an author that other people might want to pick up their book.
right.
Yeah.
And it also helps us because it lets us know that people are you know, reading our books and enjoying them, and not just, you know, that they're out there not being read.
And it doesn't mean we're sitting there reading over each review. I know authors that never read the reviews.
Right.
But to see that they're being reviewed, to see that they're X many stars out of, you know, whatever. I don't know any of them that necessarily don't see if their book is getting reviewed. They just may not read the actual words of the review. What criteria do you use to rate a book? I mean, like for me, I've heard some people go, oh, only my absolute favorite books get a 5. For me, any book is capable of getting a 5. If it was well written and I enjoyed it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be stellar for me. I mean, yeah, there are times where I may want to be like, if I could give this a 6, I would. But I'll put that down there.
Yeah.
If the story was just like, bleh, and I didn't like, I couldn't really get into it, I may knock off a star. If the editing is poorly done, I may knock off more than that, because that makes it incredibly difficult to read a book.
Yes, definitely.
But that's my criteria. Anybody can reach a 5, even if you're not my favorite.
Yeah.
If it was a solid book that I enjoyed,
And it holds my attention.
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Close to that. If it holds my attention, if I didn't put it down, you know, like you said, if I enjoyed it, then I'll leave 5. I usually try to leave 4s and 5s. I don't like giving stars less than that.
I will give less stars for several reasons. If it's very, very badly edited, or maybe even not edited, it just makes me so mad, because I'm sitting there editing it in my head as I
Right.
go. I can't help myself, and I'm like, come on, that word does not even mean what you think it means, you know. And it just pulls me out of the story. Things like head hopping drive me crazy, where they go from one point of view to another point of view to another point of view without telling you that they're doing it, and you never know whose head you're in.
Right.
Oh, I cannot stand that. And then if I disagree with maybe something that they said in there, like, I read one recently, and it was set in the 1700s. It was a pirate romance, and she had them able to do miracles, and people weren't doing miracles anymore in the 1700s, and so that sort of ruined it for me, that they could just pray and God would automatically have it happen, like a boy brought back from death. The story was good, but I couldn't wrap my brain around that part of it, because it was supposed to be set in the real world. And so things like that, just I have to rank them a little bit lower, because I cannot stay, or if they have no plot. Like if it's just somebody wrote it, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It just sort of meanders, and oh, here's the happy ending. You know.
So if you have books that 3, 2, 1 star type books that you're leaving a review for, how do you handle to make it constructive and not, oh, this book is awful, I hate it, don't ever pick up this book, don't ever, you know, because you read some like that that are like,
Right.
whoa, you know.
Right.
And we've discussed in other videos that there is such a wide variety of what is acceptable, not acceptable, things like that. So what you're absolutely bashing about this may not be
Something
offensive or a problem
Right.
for someone else. How would you handle the elements that you didn't like in the book if you're leaving a 1, 2, or 3 star review? How would you, as an author, want someone to handle leaving? Hopefully not, but none of us want them. But that's, you know, we understand our writing's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
If I am a hardcore historical romance fan and I pick up Erin's book, it's not going to appeal to me as much. But hopefully, as a reader, I can go, but it was well written, there was a good story, it just didn't appeal to me because of the subject matter.
Right.
So maybe I knock it down to a 3. I never would, because I loved Erin's books. But if I were to do something like that, to say in it, I'm not a fan of this genre.
Right.
Somebody gave me this book and I wanted to read it, and it was well edited and a good story. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
But if you like it, this type, you may really, really enjoy it.
That's probably the best way to do it. I mean, because I've seen so many people leave reviews where they bashed it because it wasn't their typical genre, and then it is well written, or it is a good story, or it is a good plot, you know, and then the author is like upset and hurt for no reason, you know.
Now, how do you handle the finer points, like the not well edited book?
I totally say that when I leave. If I leave a lower review, I write why I knock stars off.
Do you balance it with positives?
I do try to throw in some positives. I loved this part of it. I did like this part, but here's why I knocked the stars off, because I just couldn't get through it because of this. I've seen people who said, I did not finish this book because blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, at least they left a review anyway, but it's not very helpful because they didn't get all the way to the end.
Right.
So do you feel if you haven't read a book all the way through, don't leave a review? I mean, personally, that's because you've not seen if it changed, because it could get better. It could, if you can't get through it,
Then I don't really see a point in.
you know.
I make myself finish every book I start.
Huh.
Even if I don't like it. Because as an author, I know how much work goes into writing a book. And I want to give them a chance. But there are literally, I look at my husband and I go, why am I still reading this? And he's like, I don't know, put it down. And I'm like, I can't do that to these people, you know, and I know that's really weird, and I may reach a point in my life where I'm just like, I don't have time for this. I'm not finishing this. But, you know, I try.
Yeah, I don't like leaving negative reviews or low stars, so I just typically don't. If it's not something I enjoyed, I'm just like, well, and I don't really leave anything less than a 4-star. I know.
I've occasionally left a 3, but I feel horrible.
I
when
know,
I do.
right?
I'm like, oh,
I don't
I'm
want to hurt
awful.
anyone's feelings, you know. So
But
I'm
at
like,
the same time, I've heard
I know.
all reviews, if they're
Mm-hmm.
constructive, if it's not just bashing it.
Right. I would never leave
and
one
it
that
can
just
be
bashed it.
negative, or it can point out negative
Right.
traits without being bashing.
Mhm.
Of course.
I've heard that it's still a review. It's still, you know.
And you know, it makes it where you realize, well, at least it's not just their friends and family that are reading this book.
True.
You know, other people are reading it too. Personally, I've never gotten a low review, but I'm bracing myself.
Yeah, I know,
because I'm
right?
sure it will happen one day.
I've heard other authors say you haven't really, I don't want to use the word arrived, but you haven't been vetted very well if you only have 4 and 5-star reviews, and I'm just like,
No, I'm good.
I'm just bracing myself.
perfectly fine. You
Didn't
know?
we go through the whole rejection thing before this ever started?
Yes.
Well, that is our discussion on book reviews, and if you're not reviewing the books that you're reading, give it a chance. Help out the authors that you enjoy by leaving those reviews. Goodreads. If you have a blog, review them on your blog. Go to Amazon and review. You can even, again, do your 20 and 20 review here on our YouTube page by emailing us your UN20 review at the email address that's entered into the description of this video. And be sure and click subscribe to our videos so that you don't miss any, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.